I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on Grade 9 Test Review. In this particular video, we'll learn about lines. So I'll give you a brief introduction about what are lines, and then we will review a few concepts which we learned in Grade 9. So let me just draw a plane, coordinate plane here, and I'll draw some straight lines. So whenever I say lines, we'll mean straight lines. So it could be a line like this. So this line is always increasing, correct? It has positive slope. It has a y-intercept which is right there. So this point where the line cuts through the y-axis is the y-intercept, right? So as you can see in the coordinate plane, we have a horizontal x-axis, vertical y-axis, and that is the origin, correct? So the point where the line intersects y-axis is the y-intercept, and the point where the line intercepts x-axis is called the x-intercept. Here the x-intercept has a negative value, y-intercept has a positive value, and the slope of the line is also positive since it is always increasing. In general, we could write equation of a line in the form of y equals to mx plus b. Now that is the slope intercept form of a line. Now if I give you some values, you can easily find the slope and write down the equation of this line. Let me just give you a few values and then we'll try it out. Let us say that the y-intercept for us is 2 and the x-intercept is minus 3. In that case, what is going to be the equation of this line? Well, in this case, the equation of the line, let me call this as line 1. So line 1 equation should be y equals to, slope is 2 over 3, right? So if you move from point on the x-intercept towards that, so we go up, that is the rise of 2, and run is on the right side by 3 units, right? Don't get confused with the number minus 3. 0 minus 3 will give you plus 3, correct? So the slope here is 2 over 3. So we'll say 2 over 3 x, the independent variable here, plus the y-intercept 2. It is so easy to get the equation of lines using this particular equation, right? Let me draw another line which has negative slope. When I say negative slope, that means the line will be falling down, kind of like this. Correct? Let me call this line as L2. Now, to give the equation for the line L2, we will again take some values, and let us say this value for us is 5 and this value here is, let us say, 4. Now, can you write down the equation of this line? You can pause the video, write down the equation and then move on. So this is line L2 for me, and the equation should be, slope is how much? This time the slope is negative. You have to go down by 5 units and then write. So it is minus 5, that means going down by 5 units over 4x plus the y-intercept, which in our case is 5. So that is how you get the equation of a line. Do you see that? Using slope-intercept form. I hope you find it very simple. There are two types of other lines which have kind of different slope. For example, if I draw a line which is horizontal, well, a line, let us say, it goes through this point 5 itself. I do not want to write so many points. Okay, horizontal line. Now this horizontal line, I'm calling this as L3. Can you tell me what is the equation of this horizontal line L3? Well, let's try to figure it out. At every point, y value is 5. Do you see that? So my equation is y equals to 5. That is how you get equation of your horizontal line. What is the slope of this line? Think slope is 0, right? Because y equals to y-intercept, right? That happens when x is 0. So slope here, x is not 0. X could be anything, so m should be 0. So in this case, we know slope m is 0. So that is very important to understand, correct? Now, let me draw one more different kind of a line, and this time I'll make a vertical line. Can you tell me what is the equation of any vertical line? Well, let me draw one and then we'll figure it out. So if I draw a line here, for example, and let's call this line as L4. So L4 is my vertical line. How can I write equation of this line? It is important to understand the slope of this line is undefined. So in this case, we have undefined slope. This is very critical. Since the slope is undefined, I cannot use this equation. M is undefined. So we cannot use slope-intercept equation. That's very interesting to understand. I hope you appreciate it. How do we write equation of this line? If I know that this point here is 7, in that case equation of this line will be x equals to 7. It is very different from all the above equations. X is 7, as you can see, for each and every value. Each and every point on this line, value of x is 7. And that is how we get equation of this line. So what we learned here is that you could represent all the lines with the equation y equals to mx plus b, and that is called slope-intercept form of the equation, but not the vertical line, since the slope of vertical line is undefined, correct? Now let's talk about the other concepts which we learned about the line, and that is mainly parallel and perpendicular line. I'll also connect you with list of videos on this topic. Now if I have two parallel lines, it really means what? So let's say if I have a line here and another line which is parallel to this. So let's have a similar line parallel to this. What you notice here is two things. One, that they have different y-intercept. They have different y-intercept. Do you see that? But they have same slope. So that is how we get parallel lines. So this is about parallel lines. Let's say parallel lines. Okay, so that means parallel lines. Normally we put an arrow like this. We could put two arrows saying that these two lines are parallel. Okay, now we'll talk about perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines could be kind of like this. So if I draw a line like this, where let me say that this line is L, let's say 6, and the parallel line which we are talking about is, let us say, L5. We say L5 and L6 are perpendicular, then how are their slopes related? Well, if L5, okay, I wrote M, so I'll write M5. Slope of line M5 should be equals to negative reciprocal of slope of line M6. That happens for perpendicular lines. Do you get the point? Or you could also say that the product of slopes of line 5 and 6 should be -1. So that is what we learned about parallel and perpendicular lines. So if two lines are perpendicular, then product of slopes is equals to -1 for perpendicular lines, okay? But if they are same, then they are parallel, correct? If M1 equals to M5, now let's write down. So this is line L5 for us, so I'll write M5 here, and they say this is line L4, slope of line 4. So they are same, means M5 slope of line 5 is equals to slope of line 4. So this is what we learned about parallel and perpendicular lines, right? Now, another form of equation which we all know is the standard form of equation. For a line, we will write this as ax plus by plus c equals to 0. Now that is the standard form of equation, and it is very helpful to graph any line, right? That is also helpful for graphing. We'll talk about graphing also. So standard equation of line, right? Okay, so here the beauty of this equation is that we can easily find x-intercepts and y-intercepts using this equation. So let's talk about x and y-intercept, and let me take we'll take general example later, but okay, we can take general example now. X-intercept really means that y equals to 0. If in the general form I put y equals to 0, what do I get? I will get ax plus c equals to 0. I can write this as ax equals to minus c, or the x-intercept is minus c over a. So that is the formula for x-intercept, which may be new for some of you. How about y-intercept? Do I have a similar formula for y-intercept? Okay, let's figure it out. So we say y-intercept. Y-intercept really means that x is equals to 0, correct? For y-intercept, x has to be 0. So we'll write x equals to 0 in our standard form of equation. X equals to 0 means ax will be 0. So I get the equation as by plus c equals to 0, by equals to minus c, y is equals to minus c over b. So that is the general equation for y-intercept. Do you see that? So that is how we can find. And let me now share one example quickly with you before we close this video, move on to the next video on our review of grade 9. Now here, let me say my equation is 2x plus 3y plus 6 equals to 0. In this equation, you have to find x and y intercepts. To find x intercept, I have to block y. What do I get? 2x plus 6 equals to 0, correct? And so I can say x is equals to minus 6 over 2, which is minus 3. So for this particular equation, let's say this is line 10. We have so many lines. Let me say line 10 for this, okay? In that case, what you can find is x-intercept of minus 6. You can use the formula. This is c. Minus 6 divided by 2, which is minus 3. Let us say the x-intercept is here. Y-intercept will be minus 6 divided by 3, which is minus 2. So let's say that is here. Joining these 2 points, we get our equation. Do you see that? I mean, we can get the graph of our line. Do you see that? So that is not so straight, but you can join with something straight like a scale or a ruler and get the equation. And this is the equation of line 10. So line 10, whose equation is 2x plus 3y plus 6 equals to 0, can be drawn like this by finding x and y intercepts, right? Now in the next video, we will learn techniques of writing or interchanging one form to the other and relating the lines. And we'll get into details of how to graph a line. I hope this video helps you to understand and get the basic concept of lines, which you did over a couple of chapters in just 5 minutes. I hope that helps. I'm Anil Kumar. You can subscribe and learn a lot from my videos. Thank you and all the best.